our Corporate Innovation Challenge. Before we get started, I just wanted to let everyone know that we are actually signing non-disclosure agreement, so unfortunately, we're not able to say the name of our company, so instead we replaced it with Healthcare Co. So back in May, Daniel, the plant manager from Healthcare Co, came to QSII and presented a consulting opportunity. Healthcare Co is a multinational company that specializes in sterilizing and filling pre-filled syringes. The problem really comes in two pieces. First, they currently have access capacity, and second, one of their current contracts will expire in 5 years, which means that they need to secure a new client after that. Currently, the Canadian plant does not have business division, which means that they need an external source to tell them what the market needs should be for pre-filled syringes. So our goal in helping them with this problem is to identify new markets and new products for pre-filled syringes. Judges, for the next 10 minutes, we want you to put yourself in the positions of Healthcare Co management team and really assess whether you would be willing to invest the money based on our recommendation. So what exactly are pre-filled syringes and why are they needed? So originally, you would have an empty sterilized syringe and a vial containing medication or a solution. The nurse would draw the medication from the vial and administer it to the patient. The problem with this process is that it often causes a lot of contamination. When medical device companies found out about this, they thought, well, why don't you just have the solutions inside the syringes in the first place? So that's what really led to the innovation of the pre-filled syringe. So you would have a syringe and you would fill it and sterilize it at a manufacturing plant. After that, the finished product would be readily for use for nurses. Compared to the previous process, it reduces contamination, it reduces errors associated with giving the wrong medication, it's more convenient to use, especially during emergency situations in which the nurse doesn't have a lot of time to pull the medication from the bottle. And finally, it's safer to use because it reduces the number of needles to injuries. So Healthcare Co is really in the business of filling and sterilizing the pre-filled syringe. So our job is to really look at what type of fill should go into these pre-filled syringes. So this slide, there's a general overview of what a typical pre-filled syringe contract manufacturing supply chain would look like. You would start off with a pharmaceutical company that has a solution or medication that they want to put into a pre-filled syringe. They would contact a company like Healthcare Co, who would go out and buy the raw ingredients as well as the empty syringes, sterilize it and fill it up in their own plants and give that back to the pharmaceutical company. From then, that will be given to the distributors who will distribute it to the end consumers, which includes hospitals as well as home care clinics. So in order for us to assess what type of fill should be in these pre-filled syringes, we contact several end users and experts in different sectors of the pre-filled syringe industry. After extensive interviewing and research, we were able to compile 150 potential products. Now, there are two pictures in the background, and I wouldn't recommend anyone actually try to read the fine print, but it's essentially a snapshot of the preliminary data that we collected after the interviews and the research. So we sent the 150 potential products to our client, who then gave us a set of criteria to narrow down that list. So on the left are the criteria, and on the right are what the ideal characteristics would be for a pre-filled syringe for that specific plant. In terms of drug and device, we're looking at the regulatory nature of the pre-filled syringe. So each product is either classified as a drug or device. In terms of sterilization, we have aseptic sterilization or terminal sterilization. Aseptic is when you're sterilizing the individual components of the pre-filled syringe, whereas terminal is sterilizing the product as a whole. In terms of manufacturability, they really want to see medications that are already in the pre-filled syringe market and not still under development. In terms of time to market, that's including the time needed for regulatory approval, as well as the time needed to secure a contract with a pharmaceutical company. And finally, this plant specializes in large volumes of pre-filled syringe, so they're looking at an annual volume of 40 to 60 billion units. So we took this criteria and we applied to the 115 products that we started off with initially, and we got that down to the top 5 recommended products for Healthcare Co. So all of these products fit both the technical constraints as well as the market constraints of the plant. And we further analyzed sodium citrate and enoxaparin sodium. And now I pass it on to Hank, who will discuss the recommendations in detail.
Thank you. We believe that sodium citrate and enoxaparin sodium are the two most promising opportunities for our clients. If you look at the top 5 drugs in terms of their market potential versus technical feasibility, you will see a positioning map like this. Sodium citrate has high technical feasibility because it's similar to the products that are already being produced by our clients and has a decent market potential. On the other hand, enoxaparin has lower technical feasibility because we require additional investments from our client to fill. But however, it has much higher market potential because of the high margins. Just to give you an example, each pre-filled syringe of sodium citrate sells for about $1 retail, whereas enoxaparin sodium sells for about $40 to $70 retail. There are numerous reasons for why this huge difference in margin exists, which includes higher pharmaceutical ingredient cost, higher drug concentration, as well as tighter regulations. These two drugs will form the core of the recommended strategy going forward. Our recommended strategy is, in the short term, to fill sodium citrate pre-filled syringes because it doesn't require any additional investments from our client to produce. Because of the fast time to market nature of sodium citrate, our client will be able to make use of its excess capacity right away. We found that even though there are several large pharmaceutical companies who are producing sodium citrate in IV bags, there's only one company in the US who's filling and selling sodium citrate pre-filled syringes. Furthermore, this one competitor's plant capacity is only 1/7 the capacity of our clients. This means that Healthcare Co. will be able to quickly acquire a significant portion of the market share because of its high volume and low cost. We estimate that Healthcare Co. will reach 45% market share in this market in 3 years. In the short term, we also recommend Healthcare Co. to invest in the first 3 years so that it can become a contract filler for enoxaparin. There's two main obstacles that need to be resolved. First of all, enoxaparin cells typically come in 1 milliliter syringes, whereas our client will only be able to fill 2.5 to 12 milliliter syringes as of now. Second, enoxaparin is regulated as a drug by the FDA, while our client is only authorized to fill pre-filled syringes that are classified as devices. In order to overcome these two obstacles, will require an overall estimated investment of $6 million spread through 3 years. $4 million for the plant improvement and $2 million in 10-year approval. If this is done, our client will be able to start filling enoxaparin starting from year 4. For long term, after year 5, one of our clients' current contracts will expire, and this will free up additional excess capacity. Our recommendation for them is to continue researching into new drugs that can be put into pre-filled syringes and use their excess capacity to fill the other drugs that we have outlined in our recommendation. This graph shows the plant capacity usage for the next 5 years. As of now, there's a 17% excess capacity that's not being used. Over the next 3 years, sodium citrate will fill about 50% of that excess capacity, and if our client invests $6 million within those first 3 years, they will be able to occupy 65% of the excess capacity by the end of year 5. This next graph shows the gross profit breakdown for the next 5 years. As you can see, even though enoxaparin has relatively lower market volume compared to sodium citrate, it's contributing a lot of gross profit. And this is one of the main reasons why we think the $6 million is a phenomenal investment opportunity for our clients. After we presented our findings to our client, we received a lot of positive feedback, and our client expressed strong interest in pursuing sodium citrate pre-filled syringes because it doesn't require any additional investment, and they can start producing it right away after a contract has been secured. Our client was also interested in enoxaparin and they requested us to perform further research, such as market analysis and financial projections for that particular drug. Furthermore, the plant manager will be presenting our findings to Healthcare Co.'s corporate head office in the US and ask for their approval. On a final note, this project has been a great fit with our consulting team, with Nelson and Amy who are specializing in biochemistry and life sciences who handle the technical aspects of this project, and Nadeep and myself who are specializing in accounting and finance to handle the business aspects. We've learned a great deal from this project and a great deal from each other, and we are proud to have had the opportunity to shape the future of the business. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. We think our recommendation has the potential to generate a lot of profits for the company as well as its investors, and we'll welcome any questions.